Why the first 30 seconds matters. Well, keep in mind, we've talked about disqualifications that come up when you first meet somebody. We talked about how important it is to know what you're wearing, what you're vibing, what kind of energy you're evoking from your presence. Well, in the first 30 seconds, you're now going into the second quadrant. You're actually getting a response, and you're going to take that response and actually turn it into another direction within the conversation. One of the most important things in the first 30 seconds is to make sure you explain why you are interacting with this person. You don't have to explain it in words. You can do it with your looks or your smile and so forth. People usually are guessing either you're after them romantically or you're after them because you actually need your question answered. So at some point you might, throw a little bit of smoke up and say, hey, can you share with me your opinion on whether or not I should get this or that for my for my sister or for my brother, or if I'm making a meal, can you give me some kind of a secret ingredient that will really dazzle the meal or whatever it is. So when you're looking at the other person and you're seeing the way that they respond, and you're seeing the way their body moves, and you're seeing the way their eyes are willing to look in your eyes or not, you're gathering all this information. Now your subconscious will know what to do with that. Your subconscious will know whether this person is probably going to be good for you. And if you're getting that chord and you're feeling like you're making music together in the same kind of quadrant, then it's time to be assertive with what direction you go with, let's say your first initial opener. So a lot of times people will respond with yes or no's when you first ask them, for, let's say, their opinion on something, or if you're making an observation about who they are, or what's going on in the moment. The idea is you have to be so quick within the second response to make them feel safe, or else you're going to lose them. And it literally, that first 10 seconds will buy you another 5 or 6 seconds unless you can respond quickly after their response. So zoom in to what they're showing you with their word choice. Pay attention to what's happening, with their level of, let's say, presence. Like, are they tuned into you? Are they distracted by work? Are they distracted by shopping? Are they distracted by somebody else? Do they potentially have a lover? And you're trying to figure all these things out. And so it's not easy. But if you start to just realize that the moment you respond to their initial response, you've now set the second layer, the second foundation as to where you want to go. Because if you ask somebody for their opinion and they don't really respond favorably, or they don't give you maybe the opinion you're looking for, you don't have to take it any further. You can actually end it right there, and you can stop going deeper romantically. But if they're smiling or they're bubbly, or you can tell they're in your vibe, or they're open, if your partner or the potential partner or prospect is opening, then now becomes the decision. Do you go more playful? Do you get more serious? Do you try to back away? Do you try to play a little more hard to get because you feel that you don't want her to think that you like her too much, or you don't want your partner to think, in this case it could be a woman approaching a man saying, or a man approaching a man. There's so many different possibilities, but the idea is you want to gauge their response, and from that response will dictate what you do next. So don't be too shy, because it's harder to make a move almost later in the first 10 minutes than it is earlier. Now, if you're attracted, you like her initial response or his initial response, then go into some touch. So, and it has to happen so fast. So at that moment, it doesn't have to happen in the first 30 seconds. It's a lot easier if you can just kind of maybe nudge up to the other person, kind of like lean in and say, well, hey, what do you got there? What is your real opinion on this? Don't hold back. Again, you can almost lace it with a little bit of a soft challenge. But the idea is you almost want to make a little bit of a contact, maybe with your arms in very appropriate places. But you want to initiate that touch, because that shows a lot of people that you actually do mean business romantically. And if you cross that barrier, now you set the stage to make it so much easier to transition into getting a phone number within the first 10 minutes. So those are a few practices. Make sure that you reach out and nudge or touch somebody if you can in the first 30 seconds. Be very clear with why you're there so that the other person is understanding if you're actually interested in them. And then also be really clear on the fact that you're going to have to respond very quickly to whatever his or her response is so that they feel safe. Because there's nothing worse than an awkward silence after somebody answers a question and doesn't have a reason to follow up with the next exchange. So thank you so much, and I'll share with you more tips soon.